जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। सब तो पहला मैं आप सबू गुरु नानक साहब के दिनों सबके लख लख बधाई दिंदा हां। अज साडे उस तो पहला कि मैं साढ़े पास एक श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी बहुत पुरानी रेयर टीम जी कि अच मेरे 100 साल तो ज़्यादा पुरानी होगी नेचर इस साइड है संगत को उन्होंने दर्शन कराने हैं। सो इस वे मनमोहन सिंह जी चावला वो तुम वीडियो के उसके दर्शन कर देंगे। सो ये बहुत ही पुरानी टीम महाराज जी किसी आज तो 100 साल पुरानी भी पहला नेचर फॉर्म काफी लिखी हुई भी है। तो सब संगत को दर्शन करते हैं।
फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर तो जो सोल्जर गए हैं ना सिख सोल्जर उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट की थी कि साढ़े को लीड हो गए महाराज।
तो आज साढ़े बहुत ही प्रभावित सज्जन जिन्होंने सिख कौम के वास्ते बहुत काम किए हैं और साड़ी बहुत हेल्प की थी वो अज साढ़े हाजिर हैं। तो मैं उन्होंने बारे थोड़ा जहा इंफॉर्मेशन देना चाहता है। वो अपने Today we have a very distinguished guest among us, Dr. Paul Michael Taylor. He is going to speak on Guru Nanak's mission and philosophy and Sikh legacy of Punjab Gallery in Smithsonian. Dr. Taylor is graduate of University of California at Los Angeles, did his PhD in 1980 in anthropology from Yale University. Dr. Taylor, a research anthropologist at Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, is the director of Museum's Asian Cultural History Program and serves as the curator of Asian, European and Middle Eastern ethnology. He has written 4 books and numerous scholarly articles on anthropology, languages and art of Asia. As a director of Smithsonian Asian Cultural History Society, he has worked closely with many individuals and community organizations to establish targeted heritage projects, each associated with designated funds at the Smithsonian. Each such project has led to exhibitions and public programs. These include Korean, Philippine, Thai, Taiwanese and other heritage projects. The Sikh Heritage Project was founded in February year 2000 and has hosted annual conferences since year 2002, including the 2006 Sikh Heritage Lectures held in Chandigarh, India, co-organized with the Sri Anandpur Sahib Foundation. Its flagship exhibition, Sikh Legacy of Punjab, opened at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History on July 24, year 2004. Portions of the exhibition rotate to allow for new artworks and artifacts to be shown every 6 months. My personal experience with Dr. Taylor started back in year 2001 when an introductory meeting with Smithsonian was arranged. Later I was a part of his delegation to India to explore possibility of getting some exhibits material pertaining to Sikh heritage. We visited different museums in New Delhi and Chandigarh. Later I coordinated the Sikh Legacy of Punjab project at Smithsonian on behalf of the Sikh Heritage Foundation from year 2001 to July 24, year 2004. During this period, I invited Dr. Taylor twice to GNFA and WMSA to apprise the Sikh community of the project. Dr. Taylor is a very pleasant person to work with, easy to approach, meet people with smiling face, always willing to help in any situation, Sikh's legacy of Punjab Gallery could have not been established without his dedication and hard work of the entire team. Sikh nation is very proud of his devotion to the cause of the Sikhism. We are working couple of more projects with him. With his cooperation, his study in Sikh heritage, religion and culture has left a deep impact. Sometimes we kid with him and call him Dr. Paul Michael Singh, Taylor. So, Dr. Paul Michael Taylor, please.
Thank you very much to the management here, and particularly to Mr. Dilawar S for all your past help with the Sikh Heritage Project at the Smithsonian, and for giving me the honor to participate in some small way in the special program that's happening on this day, the Gurdwara program. And mainly I wanted to thank everybody for all the help during the time that the exhibition, Sikh's Legacy of the Punjab, was present here in Washington, and we recently bid it farewell to open about twice the size in California next year. So I wanted to describe some of that in relation to the very special program that's happening here today. The Sikh Heritage Project, or the Sikh Heritage Fund, as was mentioned, it was established in 2000 with a very generic purpose in mind. The wording of the founding documents said the project was founded, and it continues today, for the following purpose: to support acquisition, conservation, restoration, and exhibition of Sikh collections, to support research on the heritage of the Sikhs, and to support other Sikh cultural activities at the Smithsonian Institution. So the flagship public exhibition that opened in July 2004, Sikh's Legacy of the Punjab, inspired many related initiatives leading up to it and afterwards. Research program, a series of lectures that continues, preservation projects, and annual conferences. Mentioned was the conference, particularly last year in Chandigarh, which for the first time brought together delegates from Pakistan and India to talk about management of museums and historic archival sources. We were instrumental as a result of the project that you all here helped found in putting Gila Mubarak, for example, the first Sikh site ever so named, on the World Monuments Fund's list of the world's 100 most endangered sites, making it immediately eligible for preservation funding. Among the people at the conference were some of the world's foremost experts on the biodeterioration of stone, particularly limestone. So you can imagine how happy they were to see Gila Mubarak, because it was exactly their field. And I think that the paper conservation and other types of preservation efforts that were discussed and planned there will be continuing for a long time. Sorry. I, of course, like all of us, would have liked to see the Sikh exhibition at the Smithsonian continue much longer at the Smithsonian. We can say that at this time, the Smithsonian is really in a period of transition. We have an acting secretary. Every undersecretary or assistant secretary is acting position. The director of our museum is an acting director. And one of the changes in the new administration was to try to reduce the long-term exhibitions. And so this was actually scheduled to close much earlier, but we pointed out numerous documents promising that would be open no less than 5 years. However, in the end, it had a very good run. We were offered a space upstairs because due to some donations from two particular donors, the space in which it's located was going to be used, is now being prepared to be used for an exhibition on human origins. So we were offered some space upstairs, and there was a tremendous amount of discussion back and forth among all the lenders and the people who had been the primary donors and active persons setting up the exhibition. And in the end, we all decided, especially with the demand that there was for this exhibition by now in other parts of the country, we have two choices: either make a very reduced size exhibition upstairs in Hall 24, as we call it, near our Korea Gallery, which we just opened in June. So that would be building on to the Asia Hall concept that we originally planned. Or we could make the exhibition much bigger and move it someplace else. So that was a tough decision. We actually planned in detail what the small exhibition would look like. We would use the section that was referenced and is being celebrated today on the age of the Sikh Gurus, about the philosophy of Guru Nanak Dev Ji particularly, and his history through the first 10 Gurus, and then the setting up of the Guru Granth Ji as the source of spiritual authority. And we would also probably have used the section on how do Sikhs celebrate their faith, and a few introductory components. That, however, would leave the rest of the exhibition without its core. So we didn't feel that any place would be able to use the rest of the exhibition, and the smaller size exhibition also was not guaranteed a very long run. So in the end, everyone felt it was better to move the exhibition in its entirety, which we did in September. We took everything down and we shipped everything with the help of many people who are here, actually. We managed to get everything out to California, where the exhibition will open about twice its size next year, first in Santa Barbara and then other locations. And it's also available then for other locations after that as well. So we see this particular exhibition as having moved on from here. But while it was here, let's look back at the extremely positive effect that it had. About between 5 and 7 million people every year were introduced to Sikhism and to the philosophy and history of the Sikh Gurus. And I think that had a very positive effect in many ways. And it was the choice of actually our advisory committee to focus on an exhibition that was not primarily for a Sikh audience. So when you read the descriptions of Guru Nanak, the first Guru, with his dates of 1469 to 1539 in the exhibition, it's really built for the average American or European visitor. Here, let me read a section. Born in a small Punjabi village, now in Pakistan, Guru Nanak grew up in a Hindu family. Sikhs believe that at age 30 he mysteriously disappeared from a river where he was bathing. When he returned 3 days later, Guru Nanak spoke about his powerful religious experience and about how God values the way people live more than the religion they follow. Stories handed down from generation to generation recount that Guru Nanak traveled extensively for the next 20 years. Over time, more and more people came to listen to his teachings and songs. Guru Nanak composed more than 900 hymns that are part of the Sikh holy book, the Guru Granth. How did we display the Guru Granth? Of course, there's a concern about having this in a museum setting. And I was a little worried about the solution we finally came into, which was to show everything as though the Guru Granth were present, complete with the flowers and the covers and the canopy. But actually it was a prop rather than the actual Guru Granth. And a label on the side explained that according to Sikh tradition, one must always take off one's shoes and wear a hat in respect for the presence of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and so therefore this is impossible to reproduce in a museum setting. Consequently, this exhibit substitutes a prop for the actual book itself. And to my surprise, when we did our surveys of visitors, that was one of the things that everyone remembered the most. It wasn't even an object, but the absence of an object that was so sacred that it actually could not be there. Similarly, the stories of the World War I Sikhs in World War I who fought, as I saw last year at Ypres when we went there actually it was for a conference that I did on another topic in Netherlands. We had the great pleasure of visiting Ypres. Working with them to include representation of Sikh history in the Flanders Field Museum, which is a museum of World War I there at Ypres. So it's very intensive ongoing effort to every November commemorate Sikhs who fought in World War I there. The small silver coffee container for the Guru Granth Sahib also was on display, will be on display again in California, but they also were removed before we booked. And in numerous cases we had big decisions to make, and I think the involvement of the community was absolutely essential, and many people here helped dress the wedding sets that were in the exhibition in the section on how the Sikhs celebrate. We talked about celebrations of various kinds of annual cycle of celebrations and also the life cycle of celebrations. So these are things that people can really relate to, the life cycle, and that was another thing people remembered. But there were things missing, and we hope to address this over time, not only here but in the future. One thing that was missing was made possible for us to include, thanks to the generosity of the late Dr. Dhatt who donated some funds for us to add a component about Sikh music. If any of you did not see that, that was a very, very successful component. We talked about the Jadi, and we had examples of that, the Jago and the Bhangra. And to complement that, Dr. Mahendra Singh Gill, a painter, did a wonderful painting of those three types of music. So when you would push the buttons and read the stories, then you would be surrounded by this music. And we managed to work this out in a way that it did not interfere with the other music that were coming elsewhere in the exhibition, the sacred and secular types of music, which we also augmented as part of that procedure. In the last year, we also did new rotations of the exhibition. We put in the drawings of K.P. Singh, the painting by Mahendra Singh Gill, the music section, and we changed the section on the history of Sikhs and the polity or politics of India since independence, and also during the colonial period. We returned several paintings and put in new ones, and we circulated the paintings of Arpana Kara, so we moved those around and added a new one. So we did quite a bit of changes right down to the wire, so to speak, when the exhibition closed in September. I mentioned the conferences. I also want to mention the current projects. The general feeling among our sort of advisory group of people is that the next exhibition will probably be a traveling photographic exhibition. Again, we are going to start this after the Smithsonian has its own new secretary and its new director, so that the new people feel more or less a part of this more than they might now. Let's put it that way. And in the meantime, we're also working in India on a very important book about Sikh heritage in India. This is not from the Smithsonian collection, but from family collections in India. The three people working on it are one, Dr. Dhatt Maini, who gave a paper at our 2003 conference on the collection of by Sri Sikandar Singh of Bagram. And when I spoke with him about this book, he agreed that he would like to contribute to the writing of it also, so he's working on it as well, along with Mr. Mohan Singh, former director of the Museums of the Punjabi. One of the examples which I want to present today to the management here of the Gurdwara is to offer me the opportunity to speak, is a book that we recently published from our Taiwan Heritage Project, about a private collection of Taiwanese deity figures. And it's this quality of good photography and good text that we aim toward as we prepare the next book on private collections of Sikh heritage in the Punjab. And so there is another of our ongoing projects that I want to mention. In addition, we have been doing presentations at various conferences on the intangible heritage of the Sikh, for example, at the ICON meetings in Italy. And so, as I am trying to indicate by this, that though the exhibition has moved on, the next exhibition is one we need to start planning for. And the Sikh Heritage Project itself is really quite strong. That is to say that we have ongoing, very specific efforts and a lot of support from a lot of people that we appreciate very much. The actual Sikh Heritage Fund was, it turned out, less than was actually needed, less than was needed to close up the exhibition and return everything. But fortunately, that was supplemented by some of the museum's own funds to get everything back to the lenders. And everything will be borrowed again from Santa Barbara. But meanwhile, our projects in the Bhagwan Book Collection and in the future conferences that are planned are the subject of other ongoing grant proposals which are out there. We hope that everybody will continue to support the next and to help us develop the next exhibition idea, which is currently thought of as a photographic exhibition, mainly because that is the kind of exhibition that we feel will get the most attention and most likely of staying a long time at the Smithsonian in an area that we have planned for. So when that happens, I hope I can come back and talk more about it. In the meantime, I really hope that everyone will keep up your support and your efforts towards continuing Sikh heritage activities at the Smithsonian. And I appreciate all the help that everyone has given. This is not my first time here, I believe it's I remember the last time I was here was December 2004. I came then with my son, who asked me to also say the different greetings to everyone on this special occasion. And it was interesting, I don't think I mentioned at the time, my son was in the confirmation class of the Roman Catholic Church, where he went on to get his confirmation. And I went by to pick him up and I said he's going to have to leave early, we're going to the Sikh Gurdwara to talk with people there and as part of our Sikh Heritage Project. And so it might have been different in the past, but these days it's very nice to say, oh, in that case, why don't you come back and give all the other Catholic confirmation students a lecture on Sikhism, which I did. So just the attitude has sort of changed over the years, I see. And anyway, I thank everyone for all your support of the exhibition. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has at the appropriate time about the future of the Sikh Heritage Project, which we see as still one that is very strong in its current manifestation as a research project and as a publication effort, pending the development of our next big exhibition project, which we hope will be able to start within the next year. Thank you all very much.
मैं इसमें के डॉक्टर साहब किसी ने कोई क्वेश्चन करा है फंक्शन क्वेश्चन दे सकते हैं अपने ज्ञान के बाद किसी डॉक्टर साहब ने लिखे किसी किस्म का कोई सवाल पूछने हैं सिख हमारे यहाँ अपने सिख म्यूजियम वाले तो डॉक्टर साहब में डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं हम सारे प्रधान साहब अपने डॉक्टर को थैंक यू करेंगे उसके बाद हम उनको बताया जाएगा
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। हम मैं साਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ गुरु नानक देव जी के जन्मदिन के उत्ते ਵਧਾਈ देना सारिਆਂ ਨੂੰ बड़ी बड़ी मुबारक होवे ते जी आयन ਨੂੰ कहना एंड डॉक्टर साहब डॉक्टर टेलर ने सानू जिक्र किया है कई सालों तो सिखिज्म ਨੂੰ प्रमोट कर रहे हैं स्टडी कर रहे हैं और काफ़ी हेल्प कर रहे हैं दुनिया के ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਣ ਨੇ, ਕਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਲੀਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਕੀ ਫਿਲਾਸਫੀ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ,